Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life bringing you the word of the day. And the word for today, January 6, 2025, a Monday, is the victory of surrender. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. Our admission of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. And that is from 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 21. And here's the daily reflections. When alcohol influenced every facet of my life, when bottles became the symbol of all my self indulgence and permissiveness, when I came to realize that by myself I could do nothing to overcome the power of alcohol, I realized I had no recourse except surrender. In surrender, I found victory victory over my selfish self indulgence, victory over my stubborn resistance to life as it was given to me. When I stopped fighting anybody and anything, I started on the path to sobriety, serenity, and peace. Oh boy, this is a foundational reading for me. Uh, very, very much relatable to my story. Um, I read here when bottles became the symbol of my self indulgence and permissiveness, I I was always like rehabbing real estate and made quite a lot of money on it. Not in today's terms, I'm talking about 70s, 80s. At the height of my drinking, I was still doing it, I was successful at it. And finally, I wanted to get out of the city. I had bought two family houses and lived in one of the apartments and rented out three. Back then, I was getting $175 a month rent. The buildings only cost me $8,000 each. I didn't have to do any repairs, although I did put up siding to make them look a little better. And so I was making a good amount of money on rent, so it didn't cost me anything to pay for the taxes and everything. But I wanted to get out of the city. It wasn't in a good location. At one time when I bought them, it looked like it was coming up, uh, but it never really did. It started out, and then the renewal kind of died, and I moved to a rural area where my family was originally from when they came over from Ireland. Uh, so when I moved out there, procuring the very large amounts of alcohol that I drank on a daily basis. I go to different liquor stores so they wouldn't know I was drinking so much like they really cared. And as this place had a couple of apartments and plus where I live, and I put in new refrigerators. So I had those big, like 7 foot uh, cardboard boxes that the refrigerators came in back in those days. So I put them in my garage, which was an old 3 horse barn, and it had gigantic wooden posts. And on one of the wooden posts, I put one of those can crushers where you put the can in, come down on it, and it will come out maybe about that thick. So this will show you my self-indulgence because I didn't want to keep putting my cans down by the garbage because these garbage people wouldn't know how much I drank. And by that time, this was towards the end of my drinking. So I was isolating. I wasn't drinking and driving. I was just drinking alone at home. And, I filled up one of those 7-foot uh, containers for the refrigerator. So I had 3 of them, and I went from one to another. Wow, that's a lot of cans. But rather than think, well, maybe you're drinking too much, I thought, wow, when I bring these to the metal place, near the dump, these guys are going to buy this all up, and I can probably buy more beer with it. So that was my crazy thinking, and I did fill up 2 of them. I really don't know how many cans were in there, but it was so many. And I mentioned it in one of the previous videos, a quote from the Indian chief who was just sick of all the wars and couldn't see a way of winning. He just, I will fight no more forever. And that's what I finally did in the battle against alcoholism. And it's true what they say it for me. So that I surrender, so that I could get victory over self indulgence, victory over my stubborn resistance to life as it had been given to me. And I was a really, really angry teenager when I picked up my first drink. As I've mentioned, I come from a very big family, 8 boys, 2 girls. We lived in tenements. We did not have our own house. And they were flat tenements, so they were flat like the English say, a flat. And usually they had 3 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and what used to be the pantry in the kitchen became a bathroom, and the code said that each apartment had to have a bathroom. So I lived like that with 7 brothers and 2 sisters and 2 parents, with 1 bathroom, 1 small kitchen. The boys' room had multiple sets of bunk beds, and it still wasn't enough. My little brother slept with me, and I was really mad that I wasn't mad at my parents. My parents both did everything that they could possibly do. I got something in my throat. And my dad worked and worked and worked. And so when I picked up my first drink, it was with a lot of anger in me. A lot. And just made me feel better. I forgot about the anger. And I don't want to get into a lot of psycho mumbo jumbo, but I just feel better. I didn't feel less than when I drank. I was funny, and I didn't think about what I didn't have. When you turn 18, most kids had cars. I had no hope of ever getting a car. I went to college, no car. Of course, I didn't really need one. And I would get out and I would hitchhike on my way home and my way back when I went home. And that wasn't bad. I get to meet, people. And they could tell you that I was a university student. I had my sweatshirt on or something. They could tell. Just like when I went to high school, I had quite a hike to get to school. It was a private school for boys, and I had to wear a dress jacket, tie, So when they see me hitchhiking, they could tell that I wasn't going to a public school, and I'd get a ride, and it turned out to be some lady would say, "My son goes there. Do you know him?" And anytime she saw me, even if I wasn't hitchhiking, just stopped. "Do you need a ride?" I say, "Oh yes, yes, thank you." And but that's what I had. I didn't have, I had to save my bus money, the money that I made from little jobs that I did for the bad days when it was really bad, snowing and stuff like that. So that's what when I picked up my first drink, it was with a lot of anger. And I stopped fighting anybody or anything. I started on a path to sobriety, serenity, and peace. So from that first time I picked up a drink to when I put them down was about 28 years. Uh, I started, the first drink I had was this, the summer that I was 13. That was my summer between graduating from grammar school when I was 13 and then going to high school when I was 13. There were no middle schools or any of that. You just, in the Catholic school system, you went from grammar school to high school. And so, yeah, it, it says here the step towards liberation and strength. And that for me was so, so very true. Uh, yes, personal power has finally turned a firm bedrock on which happy and purposeful lives could be built. And that was the case for me, especially in my second career, which when when I stopped drinking in March of '91, I I went to nursing school in September of '93, and in all my time in that, there was never a moment of me drinking. I had stopped and maintained continuous sobriety. So all my schooling for nursing, all my clinicals, and all my work in nursing was done as a sober person. So the victory of surrender, it sounds like an oxymoron. How can you have victory in surrendering? But we of AA know that it's true. So God bless, have a safe and sober day, and we will see you tomorrow. Hope it warms up.